Hi, Mithila. Nice to meet you, and thank you so much for your time today. Looking forward to this conversation. How are you doing?
I'm great. And whenever there is something where I get an opportunity to talk about CX or data center, the pleasure is mine. So thank you for inviting as well.
Excellent, excellent. So, over the next 30 minutes or so, we'll just have a very casual and informal discussion. But our idea is to understand how leaders like you are making an effort to transform the CX, especially in a very, should I say, a very high technology area like data center, which usually, doesn't touch the lives of the people directly, but the people don't realize that at the back end, whatever they are seeing is either coming through a large data center. So, my first question will be around that only. Uh, as a leader in CX, how do you define the role of CX in the industry, which is so heavily driven by technology and infrastructure?
Right. So, as you rightly said, right, the data center, people and data center are not directly connected or associated. They don't talk to data centers every day. The common man, right?
Right,
But data center has a lot of impact in your day-to-day life. You go to bank, you want to access the your mobile banking, digital banking, internet banking. Somewhere that bank is hosted in the data center. You fly through any airline, they are hosted in some of the other data center. Your insurance, anything that you connect to as a customer is customer of some other data center. And
right,
same BDx, right? So when we talk about data center as an industry, yes, it is very well technology driven, but more of infrastructure driven, right? Because we are an infrastructure provider, and what we provide is power, cooling, and space. The
right,
space for people to come in, the power to plug in, and then the cooling as an environment, right?
right,
And then on and above managed services and other supports as well. But more or data center is power, cooling, and space.
right,
So, a traditional approach or customer expectation from data center is uptime, right?
right,
Operational efficiency,
right,
and everything should be okay. There should not be any breach, right?
right,
On uptime.
right,
Now, as we move to the modern customer sentiments or customer expectations from data center, along with uptime and operational efficiency and technology support, the expectation is also about transparency, proactive communication, like interaction and engagement.
right, right,
So, see, when you are in a data center, there is a possibility that something could go wrong. There is an incident. Customer understands, but what they expect is tell us and tell us transparently and tell us within time. Because if there is an incident, there is a huge impact on financial and operational efficiency of us as a
right,
provider, as well as to my customer, because they are providing services to some other customer or
right,
use for themselves. So
right.
there's a huge money and operational impact that is involved, right? So the expectation of a new generation customers, which is B2B business particularly, is transparency and touch point engagements. Like hear us, talk to us, and let us know what's happening.
Right, right. No, I completely agree with it. And I think uh, it is very important because because whatever you are doing is impacting in 90% of the cases is impacting your customer's customer.
Exactly.
Not exactly. Or I know in 10% of cases the data center consumption is internal, right? Because a lot of system processes
Yeah.
and infra, which is consumed by the provider.
Right.
But in most cases, it is the way the consumption happens, their customer's customer. And I think that is where probably your role as a data center, while it is a critical thing, sometimes doesn't come to the fore.
Right.
As a CX leader and someone who is the global head of CX, how do you foster that culture of customer centric innovation? Because innovation is happening a lot, especially in your case, in your area, and that is probably fueled by a lot of external changes happening, whether it is the space availability, whether it is sustainability issues, whether it is security issues, as you rightly pointed out. So how are you building that or fostering that culture of innovation and with respect to customer centricity and with respect to customer experience? And can you share some initiatives or examples?
Sure. So, see, when it comes to CX, right, like customer experience or customer uh, efficiency or whatever department we want to call it, right? Customer delight is another
Right.
word, right? But overall, in nutshell, it is being there for your customer. So
Right.
one is the data center, which is, of course, I work for a data center, but I'm keeping it as a business, as an infrastructure provider. And
Right.
there is a customer who's also a business. I, as a data center, don't provide service to an individual. It's always business to business, B2B model.
Right. Right.
And then CX or the team CX is a bridge between the technology and a customer. Right.
Correct.
What is happening at the data center level? We make sure the customer is informed and empowered about it, and the customer feedback comes back to the operational level, analyzed and implemented, so that the customer also gets their problems heard and resolved, right?
Right.
Now talking about so innovation, okay, so it's for us now, traditionally, as I said, it's always about uptime. But when we talk about the, so everybody is talking about uptime in data center as well. Everybody is talking about, tier 3 data center, tier 4 data center, and likewise we will give you
Right.
XYZ uptime, right?
Right.
But on and above that uptime, because uptime comes with a lot of SLAs and agreements and
Right.
other. But on and above that, when everybody is offering that, what is important is what are you doing in addition to that for your customer? How are you treating them? So continuous improvement, whether it is about your engagement models, whether it is about your feedback mechanisms, or even the operational improvement, so that your SLAs are intact, so that your incidents are minimized, is
Right.
very important. Because if there are incidents, no matter what you do, your customers are going to be upset.
Right. Right.
Right. So no matter how sweetly you talk, but customer is
Yeah.
impacted, they are going to be upset about it. So it's hand in hand. It is operational efficiency, uptime, as well as the treatment that customer receives from a CX point of view. So it's the combination of both. And what we do about it, while maintaining operational efficiency on an operational level, which the data center operation team does. As a CX team, what we do is we within ourselves in a department and then followed back to overall organization, we have this customer first approach, right?
Right.
So if
Right.
I'm hosted in a data center, and if that data center is down or any service is down, that going to impact my business on a quite large margin.
Right.
How will
Exactly.
I feel about it, right? And then how would I want to be treated about it? So that's exactly what we as a case study take up, and then we define our strategies accordingly. So first, put yourself into customer shoe, right? And decide your strategies of your engagement. That is one piece. The second is we have the feedback mechanism. We have CSAT, which we conduct. We have NPS, which we conduct. And then for CSAT particularly, there is a simple model that, I have drafted is here, like hear what they say, okay?
Right.
Collect the feedback, then analyze, right?
Right.
After analyze, act on it, right?
Correct.
Collect all the people, act on the feedback that you have received, then update the customer, which we actually miss, because even we, for that matter, traditionally we used to conduct CSAT and we used to correct ourselves.
Correct.
It's very important that you go back to customer and tell them that, okay, this was your problem and we have done XYZ things for you, right? Otherwise they will not know
Right.
until
Absolutely.
they,
Absolutely.
they experience it next time.
Right.
So update them, which is very important. And I think that has changed quite a lot for me. And then repeat the cycle again and
Yes.
in the next
Exactly.
timely manner. So that's one piece. The second piece, innovation particularly, is automation and digitization, right? So, but there again, there has to be balance. So if there is a fire in one of the data center and you say automation, customer please log a ticket on chatbot, that is not going to
It's
work.
not going to happen.
Right. So it has to be, while we give them the customer portal, we give them the portal where they can log in, they can raise a ticket, they can actually check their inventory, where how many cross connects, how many racks, how much power they're utilizing. All of it is available in our portal, which is called my BDx, and they
Right.
can raise tickets, service tickets as well. But at the same time, when they want to talk to us, there is a telephone line available, So you pick up a call and talk to us. You don't have to really go on digitize everything and go and raise a ticket for emergency matters. So it's a balance between both of them, digitization and personalization, both.
Okay. So, Mithila, my next question to you is what challenges and opportunities you see in this data center market, especially in the emerging economies like India, and also how you foresee in the next coming years these challenges, the new challenges are going to come, and new opportunities areas coming up.
That data center is very much the operational part piece that customer used to expect, and now there is an expectation of transparency and being informed. So it has to be a balance when a customer experience person or when a customer experience team is dealing with customer. Now, talking about what challenges we face, right, when we talk to our customers or when we go to the market, data center being data center, it's a very complex service provider. It's a very complex service. So technical complexities is one of the challenge. So when you talk to customer may not understand what data center is, what practices is. They are concerned that my services should be up. Why and what is the problem, right? So your communication to customer, you're providing very technologically or technically complex solution to them, but the communication has to be simple,
Right.
right?
Right.
So managing this balance that you're communicating simply for something very complex that you have provided is one of the challenge I actually see every day. Then also the expectation management, because the downtime and incidents, right, has to be managed, because that has always been the foundation of customer experience in terms of data center. So the
Right.
uptime and SLA and incidents, that is something that one has to focus on. And that is not just the job of one department, which is a data center operations or facility, but also being into customer experience. I have to keep customer informed and I have to balance between operations and customer. That is one thing. Then customer centric digital adoption, right? So as I said, that while every company would want to eliminate or minimize the human touch points, right, but
Right.
the customer when an emergency wants to talk to human. So balancing it out, the technology and human is one thing which is very important. Another thing is security and compliance expectations of customer. It's very important that any data center comply to the security aspect, because breaching that is a huge impact not only on the brand image of a data center but also on a customer level, who your customer is.
Right. Right.
So making sure that you're complying to your security is very important. And one of the challenge that I'm very happy to overcome, but initially we do faced is when we are present in Pan Asia, right? So you you're multi-site, so you're semi-global, like you're in Pan
Right.
Asia, but being global, you still remain local, right?
Right.
Because a lot of time it happens that your BPO is at one location while your data center is at location B and your customer is at location C.
Right. Right.
And then there are three different cultures.
Right.
There are three different beliefs, right? One
Right.
could customer could be sitting in America and the data center is in Bangladesh, while the BPO guy is sitting in China. You can just imagine. This is just an example, not the real
Right.
case of BDx, but you can imagine what can happen. So when you're global, remain local and be very sensitive about the culture is very important. So that is one of the challenge that you need to balance.
Right.
Talking about opportunities, I will not go very technical because I know a lot of non data center people would also be hearing this. So the opportunities, right? So as I said, the digital transformation and balance between technology and human is one of the opportunity that we all can work upon.
Right. Right. Agree.
First human, and then we say, okay, now digitization. The actual way is balancing both of them. And then the second is, I think, the alignment with ESG objective. You, as an organization, need to decide what is your sustainability and ESG goal, and aligning your entire team, not just CX, but the entire organization and your customers towards your sustainability goal is one of the opportunity. And with personalized support is important. So see, when you're providing a data center, as I said, first is power, cooling, and space, right? But on and above that, there are very different requirements from different customers. somebody wants a marginal rack, somebody wants a specific infrastructure. So being able to provide the tailor service, yet maintain the entire data center at certain within certain infrastructure level is one of the opportunity yet challenge that I see.
Correct. Correct. No, I think you're absolutely right. Because I have found that sometimes customers also are so obsessed with SLAs
Right.
that they forget the human empathy part of it, forget feedback, forget things like what you said, a telephone line to call. Everything can't be automated. There has to be, you have to draw that line. And absolutely right. And you gave a perfectly right example of how you are balancing between the two. And that was exactly was my next question was how are you balancing it? And I think you answered that already, that how you're balancing. My next area, which I'm really curious, is uh, you talked about CSAT as one of the metrics, which is really really important. I think. Any other metrics or any other tools that you are using other than CSAT? You mentioned about CSAT, and you mentioned a very good thing about feedback there. But any other thing which you comes to your mind?
One more, which is a very key metrics that we use, right, which is a customer dashboard. Okay, so this is very internal, but I can safely talk about it. So we have a platform wherein we actually analyze everything that's happening about that particular account, which
Right,
is a customer success manager or a customer experience manager assigned to that account will have access to their customers. Now that dashboard has the inventory like rack, power, and everything about the customer.
right, right,
Not
right,
about that, it will also have the feedbacks captured. It will also have the SLAs violated, like how many SLAs over last 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, those were violated. Then it also has SLAs reached, right? Not violated, but close to SLA margins,
right,
wherein it could have been violated, but if we have not done so and so things.
right, right,
It also has any manual complaints customer have raised. If any manual one interaction complaint customer has raised that, okay, we were not responded in time or so and so forth, right? So all of this of one customer on the dashboard. So that helps us and that gives us color coding as well. And with analysis, with
yeah, yeah,
of AI, we also get the color coding. So the customer is in red is a threat of churn, so we
right,
need more attention to that customer. We have to go and do everything that's in our capacity to make sure the problems are resolved, right?
right,
But a
absolutely,
customer who's in orange or rainbow can turn red or green. So your approach has to be according to the complaint or the challenges that customer is facing. And then
right,
there is a green, which you're responsible to maintain the green, right? Because the green can also turn to amber or red. So
right.
anytime, right? One incident and the shift
Yeah,
happens. So while you focus on red and then amber, but you also make sure the green remains green. And then likewise, we also do churn analysis and predict the renewal ratio as well. So
yeah.
that is one of the very key metrics where all the data from operations, from finance, from invoicing, from commercial, from sales, everything comes there. And then we collate everything and we analyze the health of the customer.
Wonderful. Yeah, that is great actually. That is a great tool to have. Perfect. One thing which I'm sure you also are aware of and uh, looking at, and this is coming from a lot of data center things, is sustainability. Sustainability is a big issue for data centers. Uh, how are you trying to look at some eco-friendly practices and how you're adopting them, implementing them uh, around so as to make your operations more sustainable, more eco-friendly?
Right. So, see what happens, when you talk about sustainability, right, or when you talk about ESG, there
Yeah,
are there are like two things that we are focused on as a data center provider, and so is our PE guys also who have funded us as a company, right? So the focus is very clear. One is environment, and one is community. When we
correct.
talk about environment, there are two key factors. One is, and this is all in scope two for data center
Right,
particular, right?
right,
Because scope one is very less for us for self consumption. The scope two is very high because we are for customers, right? So there are two factors that impacts is for us is carbon and water, right?
yeah,
That's what we use. The carbon comes out of electricity usage. So
correct.
the focus is how can we reduce our electricity consumption? And the water is how we can reduce our water consumption or water wastage for that matter.
Right.
Now, what are we doing for it? Okay, so there are certain technologies when we talk about water, right? So there is a water cooling technology that we have to maintain the infrastructural temperature in our
Right.
data center, right? So from water cooling, we are now developing and moving to liquid cooling. Now, though liquid also resembles like, okay, there has to be water. No, it's not. It's more of a chemical liquid cooling, right? It's not where we use water like water cooling. And then slowly also an objective or aim to move to air cooled technology
Right.
where we eliminate usage of or reduce usage of water by large margin. So the water is taken care. We have the roadmap to take care of water
Very
usage or water wastage and limit that.
cool.
Talking about electricity, right? So we are doing a lot of programs like running our data center on a higher temperature, maintaining our PUE and reducing it to the lowest possible, and balancing our power factor. So all of it is actually strategically uh, deriving or driving towards the reducing of electricity consumption.
Right.
And when we talk about, one is reduction of electricity consumption and also about the electricity usage, right? The resource of electricity. So we are also tapping a lot of opportunities where we can use renewable energies. In some areas or in some geographies or countries, it is not available, but in some geographies, it is available. Wherever
Right.
it is and wherever we can, we are preferring to use renewable energies as well.
Right.
So
No,
that's
that
the balance, that's environment. Now
right.
talking about community, right? So community, there are a lot of uh, activities that we do like CSR activities. We also do, a lot of universities and colleges do visit our data center and we teach them or we train them what data center is. We do have give back to society programs wherein we are involved for cancer care patients, we are involved for social development and so overall giving back to society approach that we have. So all of it together, like environment and community, I think we are doing fairly good job.
Very good. Very, very nice to hear that. Nice to hear that. My last question, Mithila, is uh, I mean, looking ahead, what do you see as the biggest trends that will be shaping CX in the data center industry? And how are you preparing to meet those evolving expectations of your customers?
Correct. So when we talk about biggest trends, right? So I will first say not only in a data center industry, but in any industry you go today, the biggest trend is AI. So that is there in data center as well. But where and how you use AI and how you balance your AI or your automation, whatever you want to call it, with human touch is the trend that I see is required. Because before, like, we were human, complete human. Now we are talking about AI. Many people are talking about let's automate everything, right? And it's good to hear. I'm not talking only about data center. It's good to hear, wow, everything is automated. But when my patient gets heart attack or my data center or something is on fire and I call hospital and somebody says, okay, press one for ambulance, press two for I'm getting heart attack, right? So automation will not work everywhere. So there is a balance in automation and human touch. That is something that all of us in all industries need to really tap very correctly. Then, talking particularly about data center, I think personalization is the key. Whether you are automating, digitizing, or it's a human touch, the personalization is very important. I should know who is reaching out to me, which customer, in that customer who, what are the past issues, right? All of it, the agent who talks to the customer X, right, should know what are the past issues of that
Right.
customer X. And if there is any open issue that is there. So the iteration that customer calls you for one open issue becomes less when you have the background,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
Then digitization I spoke about, personalization I spoke about. I also, there is very important thing in a data center world is security. So the robust security, because a lot of attacks are happening, right? You will hear that so and so bank, so and so airline,
Right.
XYZ, all of it, right? And then the data center who provides the service. So it's very important that BDx we do have, but any data center provider should have the robust security system
Right.
to minimize or rather eliminate the attacks completely.
Correct.
Then the privacy. We do have access to a lot of customer data, and maintaining that and making sure that that data is secured is something that is always going to be in trend, that is always going to be in demand. And then the last one, I think, the certification and compliance, right?
Right.
So if you talk about BDx, we technically we are ISO certified, we are DCOS certified, which is for data center
Right.
operations. We are TIA and TVRA certified again. That's also for the operational efficiency. We have PCI DSS certification. So all these certifications is not only for compliance perspective, but it is also for gaining customer trust that you
Right.
are equipped enough to run your data center at XYZ efficiency or XYZ uptime within the SLA, right? So
Right.
even the certification is, I think, very important. And not the last but not the least is sustainability, which I already spoke about, right? So today, customers are very aware because they are also
Right.
enterprise and hyperscalers, right? So
Right.
they also don't want carbon emission to go really high. So they are also preferring a data center which is emitting carbon very less or minimum for that matter. So that
Right.
awareness is also driving us to be energy efficient and ESG compliant data center to
Right.
BDx. And that is only going higher. So that is in next 5 years is also going to be one of the key metrics or one of the key trend that any data center player should look for.
Lovely. I think you're absolutely right. And sustainability, personalization, AI, security, and yeah, these are the right things, and these are the areas where data centers have to focus on. And I'm very happy today that uh, your talk and whatever you shared will be very valuable for our readers because they have not much information about data centers, and that will be really good. So they would try to understand the data centers are, not something which is behind the wall, but there's something which are living, breathing organizations which have similar, aspirations. Lovely speaking to you, Mithila. It was a great pleasure, and we look forward to more such conversations with you in future. And
Thank you for inviting again, and pleasure is mine. See you again.